the ultimate guide to learning English through stories, a journey to success. Wow! Learning English can be fun, exciting, and incredibly rewarding. Imagine being able to read and understand English stories from simple tales to complex novels effortlessly. This dream can become a reality with the right approach. Learning English through stories isn't just an effective method. It's an enjoyable adventure. Are you ready to embark on this journey? Let's dive in and explore how you can make the most out of this amazing learning strategy. Why learning English through stories works so well. Learning English through stories is powerful because it provides context. Instead of memorizing vocabulary and grammar rules in isolation, you learn them within the flow of a story, making it easier to remember and use them correctly. But that's not all. Reading stories helps you build a rich vocabulary without feeling like you're studying. You're absorbing language naturally, just as you did when you learned your first language. Think about it. When you read a story, you're not just learning words and phrases. You're understanding how they fit together in sentences, how they convey emotions, and how they tell a narrative. This is language learning at its best. The immersive nature of stories pulls you into the world of English, where you're not just a learner, but a participant in the narrative. This makes the language stick in your mind more effectively than rote memorization ever could. Personal anecdote: how stories changed my English learning experience. When I first started learning English, I struggled with traditional methods. Memorizing lists of words, studying grammar rules. They felt tedious and disconnected from real life. But then something changed. I discovered the magic of learning through stories. It was a game changer. I began with simple graded readers, books written specifically for learners at different proficiency levels. I still remember the first story that captivated me, a short mystery about a detective solving a case. The language was simple, but the story was intriguing. I found myself eagerly turning the pages, not even realizing I was learning. As I progressed, I moved on to more challenging stories. My vocabulary expanded, my understanding of grammar improved, and I started to think in English. Yes, you heard that right. Thinking in English. This was when I knew that stories were more than just a fun way to pass the time. They were a powerful tool for mastering the language. That's not all. As I immersed myself in these stories, I began to see the language not as a set of rules and vocabulary to be memorized, but as a living, breathing way of communication. I began to appreciate the nuances of the language, the way a certain phrase could convey subtle shades of meaning, or how the structure of a sentence could change the entire tone of a passage. This deeper understanding made me more confident in my use of English, whether I was reading, writing, or speaking. Learning techniques: how to maximize your English learning through story. Now let's dive into some learning techniques that will help you make the most of your English learning journey through story. 1. Shadowing. The secret to perfect pronunciation. Shadowing is a technique where you listen to a story and try to speak along with the narrator. This helps you improve your pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm in English. Start small. Begin with shorter, simpler stories. As you get more comfortable, challenge yourself with longer and more complex ones. Don't worry about making mistakes. The goal is to mimic the natural flow of the language, which will improve your fluency over time. Why does shadowing work so well? Because it forces you to match your speech to the natural pace and flow of spoken English. This is crucial for developing fluency. Many learners struggle with speaking because they're used to thinking in their native language first, then translating to English. Shadowing short-circuits this process by encouraging you to think directly in English. Number 2. Reading aloud. Find your voice in English. Reading aloud helps you practice your pronunciation and fluency. It's also a great way to improve your confidence in speaking English. Choose a story you enjoy. This could be anything from a short children's book to a chapter of a novel. Read it out loud every day. Over time, you'll notice a significant improvement in your speaking skill. You'll start to notice patterns in sentence structure, common phrases, and the rhythm of the language. But there's more to it than just reading aloud. Engage with the text as you read. Imagine you're telling the story to someone else. Use different voices for different characters, emphasize key points, and let your emotions show through your voice. This will not only make your practice sessions more enjoyable, but it will also help you develop a more natural and expressive speaking style. 3. Thinking aloud. Make English a part of your thought process. Thinking aloud is about narrating your thoughts in English as you go about your day. It's like having a conversation with yourself. Whether you're making breakfast, commuting to work, or taking a walk, talk to yourself in English. This practice helps you internalize the language and makes it easier to express your thoughts in English. Don't worry if it feels silly at first. The more you do it, the more natural it will become. Why is this technique so effective? Because it helps bridge the gap between understanding English and being able to use it spontaneously. Many learners can understand English well but struggle to speak it because they're not used to thinking in English. By making English your internal monologue, you'll start to think in the language naturally, making it easier to speak fluently when the time comes. 4. Immersive listening. Dive into the sounds of English. Listening to stories, especially those read aloud, is a fantastic way to improve your listening skills. Pay attention to the detail. How are words pronounced? How are sentences structured? How does the language flow? The more you listen, the better your understanding of spoken English will become. And don't just listen passively. Try to repeat what you hear, shadowing the speaker as closely as possible. Don't stop there. Immerse yourself in English audio in other ways as well. Listen to podcasts, watch movies, and engage with English content on social media. The more you expose yourself to the sounds of English, the more natural the language will start to feel. Over time, you'll find that your listening comprehension improves, and you'll start to pick up on the subtle nuances of spoken English. Number 5. Writing practice. Bring your stories to life. After reading a story, try writing your own version or a continuation of it. Let your creativity flow. This practice helps you apply what you've learned and improves your writing skill. Don't worry about making mistakes. Goal is to practice and get better over time. And remember, writing is thinking. The more you write, clearer your thoughts will be. Why is writing so important? Because it forces you to use the language actively, rather than just passively consuming it. When you write, you're not just practicing vocabulary and grammar, you're also developing your ability to organize your thoughts and express yourself clearly in English. This is a skill that will serve you well in all areas of life, not just in learning a language. Using English in social media. Connect with the world. Social media offers endless opportunities to practice English. Join groups or follow pages that share English stories. Engage in discussions, share your thoughts on the stories you've read, and connect with other learners. This interaction will boost your confidence and help you use English in real-life situations. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Social media is a casual environment, so it's a great place to practice without the pressure of perfection. But there's more to it than just practicing. Social media also gives you access to a vast array of content in English, from news articles to memes, in-depth discussions on a variety of topics. This exposure will help you see how English is used in different contexts and by different people, giving you a more well-rounded understanding of the language. Staying motivated. Keep the fire burning. Learning English is a marathon, not a sprint. It's important to stay motivated throughout your journey. Set both short-term and long-term goals. For example, aim to finish a certain number of stories each month or to reach a new level of graded readers by the end of the year. Celebrate your achievements, no matter how small, because each step brings you closer to fluency. Remember, setbacks are part of the process. Don't get discouraged if you find a story challenging or if you don't understand everything right away. You can do this. Every difficulty you overcome is a victory, and it's all part of the learning experience. How do you stay motivated when things get tough? One strategy is to remind yourself why you started learning English in the first place. Whether it's for personal growth, career advancement, or the ability to connect with people from around the world, keep your end goal in mind. This will help you push through the challenges and keep moving forward. Another tip is to mix things up. You're feeling stuck? Try a different type of story or switch to a new learning technique. Sometimes, a change of pace is all you need to reignite your passion for learning. And don't forget to reward yourself for your hard work. Treat yourself to something special when you reach a milestone. Whether it's a new book, a movie night, or a relaxing day off. Hypothetical Q&A, answering your burning question. What if I don't understand every word in a story? That's okay. Focus on understanding the overall meaning. Use context clues to guess the meanings of unfamiliar words, and look them up later if necessary. Over time, you'll find that your understanding improves naturally. The more you read, the more words and phrases you'll pick up, even without realizing. How do I choose the right stories for my level? Start with graded readers that match your current level. These are books specifically designed for language learners with vocabulary and grammar that gradually increase in difficulty. As you feel more comfortable, gradually move on to more advanced stories. The key is to challenge yourself just enough to grow, but not so much that you get discouraged. Can I learn English just by reading stories? Stories are a fantastic tool, but they're most effective when combined with other methods: speaking, listening, and writing. A balanced approach is best. Use stories as a foundation, but don't forget to practice speaking and listening, and to engage with English in a variety of contexts. How can I practice speaking if I don't have anyone to talk to? There are plenty of ways to practice speaking on your own. Try shadowing, thinking aloud, or even recording yourself speaking. And don't forget about language exchange apps, where you can connect with native speakers or other learners for practice. What if I make mistakes? Mistakes are part of learning. Don't be afraid to make them. In fact, embrace them. Each mistake is an opportunity to learn and improve. Remember, the goal is communication, not perfection. Cultural insights. Understanding English-speaking cultures. As you read stories in English, you'll also gain insights into the cultures of English-speaking countries. This is an added bonus. Understanding cultural nuances, idioms, and expressions will not only improve your language skills, but also help you connect with people from different backgrounds. But why is culture so important in language learning? Language and culture are deeply intertwined. The way people speak reflects their values, beliefs, and social norms. For example, many English stories reflect the importance of individuality and freedom, which are key values in Western culture. By understanding these cultural contexts, you'll be able to communicate more effectively and build deeper relationships with English speakers. And there's more. Cultural insights can also help you navigate social situations in English-speaking environments. Whether you're traveling, working, or studying abroad, understanding the cultural background of the language will make your interactions smoother and more meaningful. Debunking common myths. Let's clear up those misconceptions. Myth 1. You need to live in an English-speaking country to become fluent. Reality. You can become fluent without ever leaving your home country. With the abundance of online resources, you can immerse yourself in English through stories, videos, conversations, and more. Don't let this myth hold you back. You have everything you need to succeed, no matter where you are. Myth 2. Adults can't learn English as well as children. Reality. Adults can be highly successful language learners. In fact, adults have the advantage of being able to apply logical thinking and life experiences to their learning process. Age is just a number when it comes to language learning. Your motivation, consistency, and the methods you use are what truly matter. Myth 3. You have to be perfect to speak English. Reality. Perfection is not necessary. Goal is communication, not perfection. Making mistakes is part of learning. So don't be afraid to speak up and use the language. In fact, making mistakes is how you learn. Embrace the process and you'll see improvement over time. Myth 4. Some people are just not good at learning languages. Reality. Everyone can learn a language. It's not about talent. It's about practice and persistence. If you put in the effort, you will see results. It's important to find the methods that work best for you and to keep going, even when it feels challenging. Interactive exercise. Get involved and practice. Exercise 1. Story retelling. After reading a story, try to retell it in your own words. This will help you practice speaking and reinforce what you've learned. Start with a short summary, then add more details as you get more comfortable. Remember, it's not about getting it perfect. It's about practicing. Exercise 2. Dialogue creation. Choose a story you've read and write a dialogue between two characters. Then, practice speaking the dialogue out loud, paying attention to pronunciation and intonation. This exercise not only improves your speaking skills but also helps you understand character interactions and conversational English. Exercise 3. Story summarization. Write a summary of a story in English. This will help you practice writing and ensure you understand the main points. Start with a few sentences, then gradually expand your summary to include more detail. And don't be afraid to be creative. You can even add your own twist to the story. Exercise 4. Cultural exploration. After reading a story, research the cultural context in which it was written. This will give you a deeper understanding of the language and the culture. For example, if you're reading a British novel, look up the customs, traditions, and historical events mentioned in the story. This will make the story come alive and enrich your language learning experience. Exercise 5. Shadowing with emotion. Take shadowing to the next level by adding emotion to your speech. Mimic the tone, pace, and emotion of the speaker. This will not only improve your pronunciation and fluency, but also help you sound more natural and expressive when speaking English. Exercise 6. Social media engagement. Engage with English-speaking communities on social media. Comment on posts, participate in discussions, and share your thoughts in English. This will give you real-life practice in using English in a casual, conversational setting. And don't forget to have fun. Social media is a great place to experiment with the language without the pressure of formal setting. Conclusion. Recap and keep going. Learning English through stories is an exciting, effective, and enjoyable way to master the language. You've got this. Remember to use techniques like shadowing, reading aloud, and thinking aloud to maximize your learning. Stay motivated by setting goals and celebrating your progress. And most importantly, enjoy the journey. Yes, you can learn English and become fluent. All about consistency, practice, and keeping a positive attitude. Don't let setbacks discourage you. Every step you take brings you closer to your goal. Keep pushing forward and you will succeed. Let's get started. Your English learning journey through stories awaits. Dive in and let the magic of storytelling transform your English skill. You can do this.